Hello and welcome to another Offseason Outlook episode of the Father and Son Pastime Podcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Kevin. How are you?
That's my dad. Dad, last podcast of the day. This is number 8 on the day. We've been recording since 10-ish a.m., 10:30. We are doing the NL West, the lovely 5 teams in the NL West. If this is your first video of forever joining us, thank you. But if it's just you checking out your NL West teams and seeing what these two guys from the East Coast think about my NL West teams, what we do is I kind of go over the losses that your team has experiencing, whether it's free agency, people you've already traded away, non-tendered. My dad kind of goes over the needs. I add here and there. I talk about trade candidates, trade options, and we go through each of those teams. Dad, I want to start off with the Dodgers, but I also want to start off with like a slight correction to what I said earlier. I said that the Texas Rangers had the most losses in the offseason. That's not true. It's actually the Dodgers at 21 players.
That's almost the whole roster.
It's half a 40-man. I mean, you could make a good team out of these.
Yeah. Well, 26 is your playing roster.
Right.
Yeah.
They obviously lost Clayton Kershaw. Dad, I think they'll re-sign him even though he's injured. But I'm just going to go through them just on how I wrote them. Tucker Barnhart, Robbie Erlin, Ken Giles, Steven Duger, Lance Lynn, Julio Urias, who again I was a fan of. I even picked him for my Cy Young winner this year. Don't know who's going to touch him, especially with the domestic violence background. Yeah. JD Martinez, Jason Haywood, Ryan Brazier, Shelby Miller, Ahmed Rosario, David Peralta. A lot of these are midseason pickups. Kike Hernandez, Jake Marisnick, Colton Wong, Jimmy Nelson, Wander Suero, Joe Kelly, Daniel Hudson, and Alex Reyes. A lot of talented names.
Kike be a great pickup.
I think he'll go back with the Dodgers. But you're going to talk about the needs, Dad. Do they need Kike? Do they need bench?
They need a roster. We're missing 21 guys. But, one of the things, starting pitching.
Healthy starting pitching.
Correct. A lot of guys are coming back or even the following year. I'm thinking sounds like 3 starting pitchers. Sounds like a lot of bullpen pieces. Sounds like a lot of bench pieces. I think they need a whole bunch of influx. But again, it's going to be, like you mentioned before, Shohei comes with a price tag. If they don't get Shohei, they got a lot of money for all the other pieces. Build a roster from there. Kind of sees where they go. Shohei is the domino of the free agent market this year. Yeah. Once he is signed, then people can go about and say, okay, now I can go to Plan B, whatever. They don't get him. Goes to many teams. Dodgers won over 100 games. They have a great team. I think they really hung together this year. Mookie had a great year playing multiple positions. They're, a great storied franchise. They just need to get, their roster together and go from there. But this year, I'm thinking they had a lot of chemistry and they worked well together.
Having Shohei Ohtani on this team of MVPs is going to be insane. Especially if they re-sign Kershaw. Like I said, my plan is for them to dominate in 2025. Still be good in 2024, but they're planning for the long haul. They have really planned out to get Shohei for a couple years now. I mean, they have 21 people coming off the books. That adds up to way more than a Shohei Ohtani contract. But I think they should be able to outbid anyone. It's ultimately up to Shohei if he wants to just go across town. They're going to need, I would say, another starting pitcher. Dad, I think you said that a lot because Shohei's obviously not pitching yet. So they need someone to take the innings for this year. Bullpen help. They lost a lot of names. Depends how you view Chris Taylor as a left fielder. Is he a utility guy, DH, bench?
They could use a power bat.
They could use a power bat. I think Shohei Ohtani is that power bat. But if they don't get him, reunion with JD, reunion with Justin Turner.
Well, he's not be able to throw next year, correct?
Correct, but he can still DH.
Right. Because you were mentioning left field, I was like,
No, I was just saying a left field, and you said a power bat, and I said, well, Shohei Ohtani could be that power bat. So they could have a Lourdes Gurriel in left.
And there's plenty of outfielders they can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's looking bright for LA. I think even if they don't sign Shohei, they're still in the playoffs. I just think they almost need Shohei, and I think LA fans need to keep Shohei in the city. A lot of Angel fans will be wearing Shohei Ohtani jerseys, but at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
Dad, I don't know if there'll be any like major trades that the Dodgers do. I just think a lot of signings.
I'm with you 100%. I think they have the money to really go into the free agent market, to fill all the holes they have. A lot of guys are going to go elsewhere, but I think they need to build a bench, add to that lineup a little bit, and pitching. They need relief pitching as well.
One more thing that I want to say is Gavin Lux and Walker Buehler will have a full year of, so it'd be really great to see those guys back. The Padres, Dad. I'm wearing the shirt. The former Slam Diego Padres, looking like, I don't know, the Blame Diego Padres.
Yeah, they have a lot of holes. They are going to be in the trade market. I think we mentioned it before. Soto is on the market. I think he goes.
I think so, too.
And I think, we made some really good predictions on where he is going to go. I think they're a 500 team or below for next year. They just don't have enough, and they don't have enough capital to fix the problems they have, and they have some chemistry issues.
I do want to go over the losses. My dad's chomping at the bit to say all the stuff they need. They lost Scott Barlow in a trade, Austin Nola, Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, Nick Martinez, Blake Snell, a lot of pitching. Josh Hader, Rich Hill, Drew Pomeranz, and some position players, Jerickson Profar, Gary Sanchez, and Garrett Cooper as well. Trading Soto is not going to fill the needs just in that alone. They're going to have to sign some bodies. It's just such a financial... They took out a loan of $50 million to pay these salary. I'm assuming that's front office workers, maybe concession workers, not just players. Is anyone traded besides Soto, Dad, or is...
I'm not sure what's left that people want. When you're having
Kim is phenomenal.
Yeah, but you can't trade away all the pieces and still be a little competitive. And then the other thing that you mentioned with Soto is you dump that salary that brings some influx of people that they can fill the holes with and everything else. They have a lot of holes to fill. Their pitching at times last year wasn't the greatest. I think they could use probably a couple starters, relief pitching as well. Right now, I think it's a team that really doesn't have a guiding light to where they want to go. I think this year will determine a lot of things. I see their, third or fourth place. And 18 months ago, they were destined to win the division, or thought they were.
Again, they kind of missed their window. They missed that Slam Diego. Everyone was loving this team, and then Tatis's steroid scandal, but then they're still adding Xander and Soto. Do they have all this money? And it turns out they don't. I think Musgrove and Darvish could be traded mid-year. I mean, I don't know if this is a full reset. I don't know what's happening with this team. It would surprise me, but it wouldn't at the same time if they went out and signed 3 players, kept Soto, and just pretended like money doesn't exist and just keep trying. Eventually it'll catch up to them, but they're so in denial. AJ Preller is so in denial that I don't know if he'll make these moves.
Yeah, I mean, from what I gather, the Padres are a small market team because they don't draw because they have so many other things to do in Southern California. Going to a Padres game is not at the top of the list. So that's even from people that actually work in the organization. Lots of competition for your entertainment dollar.
I do think Soto goes to the Yankees. I'm assuming for 2 pitchers and Everson Pereira or basically a gap filler, someone to play the left field in San Diego. They just have so many contracts there that nobody wants. There's a reason that Xander went to San Diego and Machado went there. It's because they gave him so many years on their contracts that why wouldn't you take...
Guaranteed.
Xander got 11 years. Boston went to 7. Yeah. And it's just nobody was in that ballpark. And now he will never fulfill that value of his contract.
Yeah. And you just wonder how happy he is.
He's paid. Richest man in Aruban history.
He could buy the island.
He may be able to buy the island. He has his own ballparks there. Dad, let's move on to the Diamondbacks. What is such a great piece of, a tip or a piece of advice for if you want a team to repeat and go to the playoffs year after year, you don't have a lot of roster turnover. And the Diamondbacks really don't. They lost, the 2 big losses, I would say, was probably Lourdes Gurriel and Evan Longoria. Evan Longoria was just there for a 1-year contract. Gurriel was in the trade. They lost Tommy Pham to a mid-year acquisition. They're finally out of Mark Melanson's contract. They're out of Madison Bumgarner's contract. They're not, in my opinion, going to be making these long-term contracts because they haven't really worked out for the Diamondbacks in the past. Dad, what do they need, and who might fill those maybe short-term contracts?
2 starting pitchers at least, because in the playoffs they had some bullpen days, and that's not what you want in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They were kind of lucky to score enough runs to beat the Phillies during those bullpen days. Probably another outfielder, and I think a little more power. I think they could use a power bat.
Okay. I think a power bat would be a nice addition. I think my comment was JD Martinez going back there to be the DH if they can afford him. I would love to see like a Michael Lorenzen or like a Seth Lugo, someone that can go be a reliever, be a starter. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Great fits.
And I also think, I'm trying to remember who else I had going there.
And they're good clubhouse guys.
Clubhouse guys is important in Arizona.
Yeah.
I had Teoscar Hernandez being another like a right fielder, but a power bat as well.
Yeah.
I think they could be a second place team again. I don't think it was so much lightning in a bottle, like we're so lucky, all that stuff. They have about $50 million to spend, unlike the Padres who have to $50 million to cut. So very well, it could be like, hey, I'm interested in coming out to the West Coast, man. And San Diego goes, we can't afford you. And the Diamondbacks are like, well, we can.
Yeah. And they got some guys coming up that are, phenomenal players. So they got a good young athletic team.
They do. I think it's a good mix because obviously Gabby Moreno, Corbin Carroll, Alex Thomas.
Moreno is one of the better catchers in the majors.
Oh, phenomenal.
Great trade, by the way.
Absolutely. Him and Will Smith being in the same division is great to see for catchers.
Yeah.
I think pitching is correct at obviously Zach Gallen will be a perennial Cy Young contender. Merrill is a pretty good pitcher. Brandon Pfaadt has some bright futures, but they need more.
Yeah.
I don't see them having any like pieces for trade, but they just did acquire Eugenio Suarez, so maybe they do have some things for trade that we don't really know about. Drew Jones seemed to be locked up. They're not going to trade their number one prospect.
Be great to get a left-hander.
Sure, Lorenzen's not that answer, right? Lorenzen's a righty, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, just to give it a left-hander in the rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To find somebody, right?
Yeah. But I think Moreno's going to be a budding star.
Mm-hmm. But I do agree that hitting was just as big of an issue for the Diamondbacks towards the end of the playoffs as it was pitching being tired.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Dad, I don't know if I should... I don't want to end on a bad note because I hate the Rockies. So
we haven't talked about the Giants.
I know. So we're going to talk about the Rockies first so we don't end on a bad note.
Okay.
I want to talk about the Giants last.
Okay, terrific.
Yeah.
You love Colorado.
I hate Colorado. State's cool. Rocky Stadium is cool. Coors Field's cool. I don't like your organization.
The owner especially.
Or their GM. My needs were new GM and new owner. I don't care about this team. They lost Jonathan Daza. Remember that center field prospect? He's gone. Brent Suter, really good at relief pitcher pickup for somebody.
Yes.
Throws a little funny. Chris Flexen, Chase Anderson, Ty Black, they non-tendered him, Harold Castro, and they were supposed to lose Charlie Blackmon finally and get out of that contract, but they just re-signed him because they love Charlie Blackmon.
He's got one more year left of that.
They keep playing him. So, Dad, what else? I mean,
I have my
feel free to give your college try. I don't care how much effort. We don't have a lot of Rockies listeners. Rockies listeners, go on, tag us on Twitter.
I have everything in my comments. They made some really bad choices, and for some reason, they don't have a strong minor league system, even though they really have been towards the bottom. They should have drafted a lot better. They always use the excuse of, playing in Coors Field that, the ball flies out of there and everything else. Well, then you get some different pitching and everything else, or you build up the offense to have softball games. I just think that Colorado has no guidance. They make bad decisions, and I think they're going to be in last place for a long time. I just don't think they have any leadership.
Remember, this team was good. Had Carlos Gonzalez and Troy Tulowitzki.
Yeah.
The Andres Galarraga, Vinny Castilla. Nolan Jones is a star. I do think not a lot of people know who their outfielder is. There's rumors to talk about Chris Bryant as a first baseman. I hate that.
He's out of positions.
I really do. Keep him in the outfield, I guess. I think Rogers and McMahon and Elias Diaz get traded this year. But again, they won't because the Rockies don't trade people at the right time. Yeah. They did get Cal Quantrill, and I like Cal. But Senzatella and Marquez are Tommy John. They're out pretty much all year. And that's tough because that's their 2 best pitchers.
Yeah.
So they needed Quantrill. They still got Daniel Bard out there, and he was not in 2022 form this year. Had a horrible why can I blank it right now? He had a horrible not spring training. Why can't he was in World Baseball Classic. He had a horrible World Baseball Classic. I'm so sorry, guys. It is our last podcast of the day. But they do need a first baseman. I think that's their biggest hole.
Well, they just...
If it's not Brian.
they just keep losing. And they don't make any improvements to go up in the standings. It seems like they're perennially, in the...
They're perennial losers. Call it what it is.
I think I don't need to say anything more than that, other than there's just nothing on the horizon that makes the Rocky fans appreciate it. They still draw well. People in Denver still go to the games just because the stadium's so nice.
People went to Wrigley when they sucked.
Yeah, so I just think I'm not sure how they're going to get out of it.
I said we'll shop in bargain bin. It's like when they go to Goodwill and it's like, do you have anything on sale? That's the Rockies' attitude to the offseason.
What color tag is on sale today?
Yes, I can only afford discounted discounts. Giants, Dad. They finally lose Brandon Crawford. I don't know if he'll retire, but he seems gone from the organization. Jock Peterson, another 1-year contract. Didn't get traded, but didn't have a great year. Paul DeJong, already found a new home in Chicago. AJ Pollock, Sean Manaea, Jacob Junis, Alex Wood, a lot of starters. John Brebbia and Scott Alexander, a lot of relief pitchers. Obviously, they are an option for Ohtani, but what do they need?
I have outfield, starting pitching, relief pitching.
Oh, so everything is what you just said.
Yeah, I know when we talked about who's going where and everything else, you're big on the Giants acquiring a lot of folks.
Yeah.
They have a very good GM. I think they're probably going to put all their chips on the table and build the best team they can, because right now they're behind the Dodgers in Arizona. They got to creep in there and see what they can do to try to get to the wild card situation. They were close this year. They got a new manager. I think some momentum might be working in San Francisco. They really back their team. They have a good fan base. I think they might make a move in the offseason to be competitive, but they need some help along the way, either trades or free agents.
I'm very worried about my predictions for San Francisco. It makes sense to me, but they've missed out on top targets in the past, Judge and Correa. They've signed the wrong people in the past, Mitch Haniger and Michael Conforto. This is like the last opportunity for me to have any faith in the Giants. J.D. Davis is a replaceable third baseman. Sign Matt Chapman. Alex Cobb will start the season on the injured list. He'll be there majority of the year, but really just have Logan Webb, a DeScalfani, and a Stripling. You got to get some more pitching in there. The Rogers brothers need some help in the bullpen. Wilmer Flores is like your DH/utility infielder. You need more power. Mm-hmm. A lot of things need to click, in my opinion. I don't think you can get out of the Haniger and Conforto contracts. So if you're not good this year, you're stuck with them. So I think you should try to be good and make sure that you get something out of their value. But they just need to upgrade a lot of positions in order to be competitive in this division, because you're going to have, again, we've went over this, we're going to have Phillies and Braves. We're going to have Dodgers, at least one in the Central. I'm assuming Cubs here. And then probably the Diamondbacks. And then who are you going to tell your fan base that you lost to? The Miami Marlins? The Cincinnati Reds?
Yeah.
I just think that's unacceptable for San Francisco. I mean, since Buster Posey left this team, it's just been dog shit.
They lost their leader.
Gabe Kapler's gone too. Maybe Bob Melvin can right the ship. I thought Kapler's a good manager. I don't know.
Well, they were doing well for a while in this year. In fact, they were in first place for a little bit and then faded.
Nobody gives a shit if you don't win at all. I mean that.
I know, but they had some momentum.
They were a dynasty, Dad. They won 3 championships in 5 years. 10, 12, and 14.
That was the old adage. Even years, they did really well. And he had a good manager back then, too.
Sure. But at the same time, right? I mean, yeah, exactly. Just won with the Rangers.
Yes.
But at the same time, where are those people? Crawford's gone.
Yeah.
Sandoval's gone.
Yeah.
Buster Posey's gone. Lincecum's gone. Matt Cain's gone.
Yeah. All those guys that were really the glue of the team All gone.
No one on this team that was on the 2014 World Series team. There's no there's all fresh faces.
Yeah.
Try. I mean, if you think Luciano's going to be this great shortstop that's a la Brandon Crawford, then build around him. Build around some of your young Luis Matos that's coming up in the outfield. Build around some of your good players. It didn't work with Joey Bart, but you got Patrick Bailey as a catcher. It means you have depth. If your top prospect doesn't become just next man up,
and he's a well-regarded catcher.
Joey Bart I think will be gone before spring training in some trade.
He's a number 2 catcher of some team.
Someone will give him Tampa Bay Rays. You know, I mean, I don't know if they even have a catcher.
Oakland A's.
Sure.
Across the street.
They have Shea Langoliers. He's okay. For now, across the street for now. But San Francisco will be the only show in the Bay Area shortly.
Yeah.
So I hope they can take advantage of that baseball town that the Bay Area can be and really build to get a franchise player. Maybe it's Matt Chapman, maybe it's a couple of these Japanese players, but they truly do need to show some life and support of the fan base to say, hey, we're going to try, we're going to be... We don't see competitors in the Rockies. We're seeing a weakened Padres team. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. We're going to compete with the Diamondbacks, and we think we can beat them in the long run because we have a larger payroll. I don't know, man.
Voted the number 1 ballpark for the last several years. McCovey Cove is one of the coolest parts of any Major League Baseball stadium. Fans are, into it. They do well. Now they just got to build a team.
That concludes our Offseason Outlook series. It's been a journey, folks. If you watched all 8 episodes, say, oh my God, Patrick, I watched all 8 episodes. I'm your biggest fan. Probably didn't, but that's okay. Our wives don't even watch all 8 episodes. But thank you for watching at least this video. Like, subscribe. All of our socials are in our description below. Enjoy the offseason. Nothing happened. This is our first time that we recorded, Dad, that there wasn't some sort of trader signing we had to talk about.
Yeah.
So please, watch MLB Trade Rumors with us. Watch the Twitter feed and see kind of how crazy this offseason can go. Winter meetings is by far our favorite time to just be glued to our phones outside the trade deadline in baseball.
Yeah. I think next podcast is spring training or before. Or after the
we'll do
winter meetings, maybe?
We'll do some sort of review. We'll do maybe a draft or some sort of to keep the brains moving in the off season. Something around Christmas. Players named Christmas. Players with, Christmas names. Draft.
That's right. You're good at that.
Yeah. Silly things like that. But yes, again, thank you. We're going to go rest. This has been 6-7 hours of recording. So thank you for watching and enjoy the off season.
Thank you for watching.